I talked to a former SEC official about this exact mistake, and to my surprise, he has the same fundamental misunderstanding that led the SEC to make this critical mistake in their case. In this video, I want to break down what this misunderstanding is because it's causing the SEC to file cases against cryptocurrency firms that don't make much sense. We're going to break this down in this movie because I think it will help. You are more sure than ever that Ripple will end up on the right side of the law in this current case. Your support means a lot to this channel, so if you haven't already, you should like this video and add this station to your favorites. It will also help me a lot, so if you ever need a good place to buy XRP, let me know. Or the Flare token, make sure to check out my favorite exchange, Uphold, in the description of this video. It says, let's get started, and I hope you guys enjoy the content. I want to start this video by talking about the ridiculous claim that the SEC made, because I think that this one claim could destroy their entire case for trying to call XRP itself a security. Now, for those of you who remember, I tried to find the paper early on in the Ripple SDC case. But it would have taken me like 2 hours to look for it, so just believe me. Early on in this case, the SEC filed a brief in which they argued whether or not XRP has any use. It was pretty funny that the SEC was trying to show that XRP has no use now. Because while the SEC was trying to make this point, Judge Netburn came out and said, well, as I see it, XRP does have utility, and it might even have more utility than things like Bitcoin and Ethereum. This was already a pretty big slap in the face to the SEC, but it made me wonder why the SEC is so desperate to say that has no utility. Are they just trying to flood the XRP ledger, or is there a bigger reason? When I looked through some old SEC notes, I found some pretty shocking things. When the SEC first started making rules about Bitcoin, they asked different law firms, hey, what makes something a security and what doesn't? In fact, the law firm that helped get Ethereum a free pass was listened to by the SEC in some ways. However, they told the SEC directly that securities can't be used in a way that a utility token is used as an example for micropayments. So, what this law firm is saying is that securities can't be used in a way that a utility token is used as an example for micropayments. Telling the SEC right here that utility is key to figuring out if something is a security or not. If something has inherent utility but isn't a security, this is something the SEC is badly trying to get away from. This is a big reason why the SEC tried to say that XRP is useless. Because they know that if XRP is useful, their whole argument falls apart. The SEC is aware that we are looking at this paper, so it is not a secret. Sent straight to the SEC, saying the same thing this law firm is telling the SEC. If a token has value, it is not a guarantee, and this is what we can see. The letter was sent directly to Bill Hinman, so the SEC knows if a token has utility, which probably means it's no longer a security. This is probably why the SEC tried to claim early on in this case that XRP doesn't have utility. They didn't recognize them. Taking into account the judges, I hope the judge wouldn't really look into the situation, because it's useless. Oh, you're the SEC, you're probably right, the judge would say. XRP doesn't have value. Perhaps this makes it safer. The SEC didn't have much luck, though, because this judge knew her stuff. She didn't just say, I'm going to take the secretary's word for it, she did her own research. It's easy to see that XRP is useful. If you think about it, it makes sense. Since 2008, the XRP ledger has processed millions of transactions every year, and XRP is a key part of keeping the network safe. The XRPL would no longer work. It is totally necessary for the use of the ledger is useful because it is what makes the XRP ledger work. We all know that XRP is useful in a lot more ways than that. For example, it can be used to move money all over the world. It can be used as a source of cash. It can be used to access the decentralized market built into the XRP ledger and do a lot of other things, so the SEC's claim that XRP had no use made no sense. They probably knew that they weren't making that claim from the point of view of XRP users. We were making that argument from the point of view of whether or not we need this to be true or our whole case doesn't make sense. So the SEC was quickly called out on this, and this is when we start to see them actually change their position on this issue. And they started saying, well, maybe utility doesn't matter in this equation. This is when the case started to fall apart, so let's talk about a conversation. I talked to someone who used to work for the SEC, and he thought the same thing. He said, oh well, when the SEC brought this case against Ripple didn't really do that with XRP. I totally get what he means by what he says. Is used now, more foreign Ripple's goods, but the SEC filed this case early on, so it's likely that a lot of people don't know when the FTC filed this case. XRP wasn't being used for anything, but now it is. Things in their ODL product, so maybe the SEC was right at first, but now they're wrong. But this guy doesn't get one thing, and it's very important that try to get your mind around Ripple is not the reason why XRP is useful. XRP would still be useful and have value if Ripple went away tomorrow. If Ripple went away tomorrow, I could still use the XRP ledger. I could literally start the same company that Ripple runs today on the XRP ledger, and that would work fine. It doesn't matter at all if there are no waves, and this has been true since 2013. XRP has always been useful outside of the company Ripple, so the news that the SEC filed for it to be a security isn't a surprise. In this case, Ripple was really using XRP for ODL transfers, which makes no sense at all. At the time, XRP was just as useful as it is now. This is hard for these officials to understand because it happened years ago. Now, it was pretty funny because I told him he was wrong, but he didn't answer. He just didn't care about this fact, which probably means he knew I was right. XRP did get useful again. He just never looked into it after that. Only looked into what the SEC said in their case, which is that Ripple is the only thing that gives XRP value. This is obviously not true, which is why so many amicus papers were filed. John Deaton did jump in here, and this is when he did it. This person actually deleted his tweet because John Deaton put an end to this whole argument and shut down any idea that XRP is a security today. John Deaton did reply to this person. He said that this statement is completely false, because even if Ripple did sell XRP in an unregistered securities sale, that doesn't make XRP a security, just like the orange groves didn't become securities. In the case of Howie, the same as whiskey. Didn't become a security guard in Glenn Aldrin's case, just like chinchillas didn't become a security guard in the middle of her smell case, and just like Bitcoin didn't come as security in the SEC versus Shavers case when an asset was offered and sold as an investment contract. So, it is a security, but it doesn't change the core asset. Into a stock or bond, oranges stay oranges, and XRP stays a digital code. This is because a crypto lawyer, who is also the lawyer who wrote Senator Loomis's bill, did a thorough study of every relevant federal appellate case applying Howie and found that no federal appellate court has ever ruled that the underlying asset in an investment contract transaction is itself an investment contract. In my amicus brief, I challenged the SEC and told the judge that the SEC wouldn't be able to find a single case in the last 76 years where the sale of an investment contract was also found to be an investment contract. The SEC wasn't able to find a single case, and what we see is that the judge agreed with me. In this case, the SEC made a fatal mistake. They tried to say that XRP didn't have any use, even though it was clear that it did. They did this because they know that any idea that does have use is dead in the water. The trustworthiness of their whole case XRP is useful even when Ripple isn't around, so it's not tied to the company. This is what makes XRP so valuable. The SEC's claim that XRP can't be a security because of 76 years of case law is totally different, and the SEC will never win this argument. The SEC tried very hard to change the facts by saying, oh, it doesn't have any use, but I think the judges called them on it. On the first day, there were 30 amicus curiae. Briefs come to their aid and say, hey, we use XRP for everything it can do. This is the SEC's biggest mistake outside of the company Ripple. This is why, when this case is over, they will be breaking the law, and I hope this made a lot of sense and gave you more reason to believe that XRP will never be a security anyway. We're glad you came. I hope you liked this update. If you did, make sure to like and follow, it means a lot. For now, just be patient.